So, you want to hang with the big dogs and play some Viewtiful Joe for Nintendo GameCube. Well, you've come to the right place, young man, because after watching this video, you'll be dodging baddies, punching bullets, and racking up combos like a real Ultra V-rated tokusatsu hero. Viewtiful Joe is a tremendous game, and considering the cult following of other Hideki Kamiya games, I hate to see it become so overlooked. If you've enjoyed any of Kamiya's other works like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, chances are this will be right up your alley. It's a lot less mechanically dense than something like Bayonetta or the Wonderful 101, but not every action game needs to be about style points and button combos. And if anything, I think I find Joe's more straightforward approach to be very refreshing and unique for the genre. So grab a GameCube, a PS2, or an emulator like Dolphin, and let's all say the magic words.
Henshin-A-Go-Go, baby!
Unlike most beat-em-ups where you punch first, think later, and eat chicken out of the bin, Viewtiful Joe is all about dodging and punishing. Dodging is everything, and if you're just beating the snot out of most enemies the minute you see them, you're not playing it right. Pay attention to the skull markers, dodge in the right direction, and once they're dizzy, give them a good smack to build up your V points. Now you could just keep doing these regular attacks until you finished them off, but that kind of combat really isn't befitting of such a stylish action hero like young Joe here. So instead, what we want to do is take those V points you've just built up, go into slow-mo, and start to multiply them by hitting as many enemies as we can before the slow-mo runs out. This is what the game calls rock-on combos, and using them is essential for getting through the game and chasing higher scores. Every good action game has one big core mechanic like this. In Devil May Cry, it's the style rank system. In Bayonetta, it's witch time and dodge offset. And in Viewtiful Joe, it's the rock-on combos. Look at pretty much any random piece of gameplay on YouTube and you'll see people totally ignoring this system and playing it like any other beat 'em up. It's just not as fun as playing it the right way. And I know you're a coconut head just looking at your phone or another tab or something, so I'll go over it again. Build up your V points by dodging enemies, then hitting them when they're dizzy. But do your best to keep them alive. Go into slow-mo before those V points run out, and try to hit as many bad guys as you can. With each hit, the more your V point multiplier will increase. Keeping the enemies alive before the rock-on combo begins can be tough, but every enemy you kill outside of a rock-on combo is a missed opportunity for multiplying your score. There are exceptions, like these flying guys who should be dealt with immediately before they become a pain in the ass. But generally speaking, dodges, dizzies, and rock-on combos are the bread and butter of getting through this game. And when it all comes together, boy isn't that nice. I think that finding little mechanics and gameplay maneuvers is really half the fun of action games like this. So, I don't want to spoil too much and ruin that process of discovery for you. But I get it, you're a very busy man and you want to get those V ranks to impress the ladies. So let's talk about upgrades. Like all good action games, Joe has a good shop system that lets you pick and choose which power-ups you want first. Your mileage may vary, but the first two moves I always buy are Red Hot Kick and Sliding. Like we discussed earlier, chaining hits together in your rock-on combos is the key to getting better scores, and these moves help you move about faster during slow-mo. Boomerangs and shocking pink bombs might seem useless at first, but the boomerangs are great for interrupting boss moves, and the bombs can be used with Mach speed to break boxes in the foreground. At some point in your first playthrough, you'll probably want to get the VFX turbocharger too. Joe is a tough game, and by the end, you'll need all the help you can get. But if you're still using this on the higher difficulties, well, then you are not worthy of a babe like Sylvia.
Joe, honey, why don't you show me some off-screen action?
Whoa, Sylvia! Cut it out!
The difficulty spike between adults and Ultra V-rated is huge. Harder, more aggressive enemies that deal double damage, longer boss fights, but most of all, a complete removal of the skull markers for dodging. Trying to dodge enemy attacks based purely on their animations and sound cues can seem impossible at first. But once you figure out all the tells and tricks to cut through their defenses, there's just no other way to play the game. Here's a freebie on me though, you don't actually have to wait for the spinning Bianchis to stop before dizzying them. But Donald, you're saying they don't sell Viewtiful Joe anymore. I've looked all over the Epic Game Store, there's no HD remaster, and I can't even play as him in Fortnite. Well, that's where Dolphin comes in handy, doesn't it? The game looks great in 4K, and I've been playing this for a long time without any emulation hiccups worth mentioning. And now that we've freed Joe from his purple plastic prison, you can play the game with a nice D-pad of your choosing. I love the GameCube and its unconventional controller, but Joe is a 2D game that should really be played with a D-pad instead of an analog stick. I think Kamiya and his team knew that too, but that tiny snot booger on the original pad just wasn't going to cut it either. Although the GameCube version running through Dolphin is definitely king, Viewtiful Joe did get a decent PS2 port a year after the original release. The wobbling frame rate, worse textures, and lack of progressive scan are a bummer, but the inclusion of Dante, from the Devil May Cry series, as an unlockable character does justify the existence of this otherwise inferior version.
Devil May Cry's a rockin', baby, yeah!
There's a lot more I'd like to say about Viewtiful Joe, but that's probably best saved for a full review some other time. It really is one of my favorite games ever made. And like everything else that Kamiya and friends ever worked on, there's just an overwhelming sense that they loved making this game. It's the kind of game I'm always in the mood for, even when it's kicking my ass. I hope this video has piqued your interest to go out and play the game for yourself. Or, if you're someone who felt frustrated or confused by Viewtiful Joe, I hope this inspires you to give it a second chance. Thanks again, and I'll see you when I see you.